This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about data management, that is also called as a data migration. And we have discussed what exactly data management and how can we manage the data in our Salesforce objects, and what are the various ways that we have in Salesforce to manage the data we have discussed. We have discussed few approaches which Salesforce offers to manage the data, like page layouts and the Apex programming, data import wizard, data export. These are few features which we have discussed. Now, but upon managing the data in terms of bulk means a group of records. It may be 10 records, 100 records, 1000 records, 1 lakh records, whatever, anything. Whenever we are managing the data in terms of bulk, to perform both import and export operations, to perform the import operation, we are using data import wizard. And to perform the export operation, we have to use data export feature. These are the two cloud-based features given by Salesforce, which we can use in order to import and export. These are having few limitations that already we have discussed in the previous session. As part of this data import wizard, just we can use this tool to import the data. Importing the data means what? Just we can insert or update. Only these two operations we can do. But we can't perform any other operations, like as deleting the record, exporting the data, we can't do. Only to import the data, only to insert or to update the records, we are using data import wizard feature. But the data import wizard is having the limitation that it will support only 5 standard objects. It supports to import the records in only 5 standard objects, like account, contact, lead, solution, and campaign member. These are the 5 standard objects it will support. Along with these 5 standard objects, it supports all the custom objects whatever we have. And then whenever we are performing the operations through data import wizard, we have to supply these records in the form of a .csv file, comma separated value file. That means it's an Excel sheet. In that Excel sheet, we have to place your records, and we have to save this file in the form of an extension .csv, comma separated value files. So this CSV file we have to pass as input to the data import wizard. It will take this Excel sheet data, it will be inserting into your Salesforce object records at a time. Now, so just to import the data, we are using import wizard. In some cases, I want to export the data also. For that one, we have to use data export feature. So now, to importing the records, we are using import wizard. To export the record, we are using data export features. Now, we are using these two tools separately. Now tell me, instead of using these two tools, can't we do both the operations by using a single tool itself? Yes. For that one, Salesforce has given a feature called as data loader. Okay, data loader. So what exactly this is a data loader? What we can do with the help of this data loader tool? How can we install data loader into a local device? And how can we log into the data loader? What are the various ways to authenticate the data loader? And how can we perform both export and import operations on your Salesforce objects through data loader. We'll see now. So basically, data loader is an on-premise tool. Data loader is an on-premise tool, or this is a client app. This is also called as a client application which requires installations inside your local device. Data loader is a client application like as your MS Office, like as your Notepad, like as your Notepad plus plus, like as you are having MS Paint. Like that, data loader is also a client application, or it's an on-premise tool which requires installation. On-premise in the sense it requires installation. Here, on-demand in the sense we can access by using browser internet access. So data loader is an on-premise tool which has been given by Salesforce by default as part of this Salesforce CRM. For what? To perform both import and export operations. In order to perform both import operations and export operations on all Salesforce objects, including standard, including custom, all the standard objects, all the custom objects will be supported by data loader. So upon inserting the record, we can insert the record in any standard object and any custom object. Upon exporting the data, we can export the data from any standard object and any custom objects also. That facility is available. So instead of using two separate tools, one is for import, second one is for export, just we can use the help of data loader tool. Through this tool, we can perform both import and export operations on your Salesforce object records. Now, so in this case, by using this data loader tool, how many records that we can process? Data loader tool will supports to process. It supports to process maximum of 5 million records. 5 million records. 5 million means in the sense 50 lakhs, right? So by using this data loader tool, at a time we can process maximum of 5 million records at a time. Okay, 5 million records at a time we can process through data loader. It may be import, it may be export also. Both we can perform up to maximum of 5 million records at a time. But here there is a small prerequisite is required. Whenever if you want to install this data loader into your local system, whenever if you want to install this data loader into your local system, we have to configure JDK. We have to install JDK and JRE, Java Development Kit and the Java Runtime Environment. These two are required here. If required, we have to install Zulu also. We have to install Zulu. So Zulu is one of the security update for Java programming. In order to make your Java programming as more secured, to provide more security for your Java code and the Java features, Java programming people has introduced a security update called as Zulu. So now Zulu is one of the security update for Java programming. So in order to install this data loader, we require a prerequisite that is a JDK and JRE version 11.0 onwards. Okay, 11.0 onwards. Or else we can install OpenJDK also. Or else we can install OpenJDK also. Any one of this we can install. So because this data loader tool is purely built upon Java programming. It is purely built upon Java programming. So if you want to run that Java based application in your local system, it requires supporting components here. It requires some supporting components. Those supporting components are nothing but JDK and the JRE. So in order to install this data loader, first of all, we have to install JDK and the JRE 11 version onwards. And then along with that, we can install Zulu. So now once you are installing these features, then only data loader will run, or else data loader can't run. Even though once you open the data loader, it will be automatically automatically closed by default. It won't run. We can't do these operations. So we have to install JDK and the JRE inside your local device. Then we can install data loader tool into your local system here. Now, whenever we are processing this operations on your Salesforce object record through data loader supports all standard and all custom object records. It supports all standard objects and all custom objects also here. That facility is available as part of this data loader. Now, so now here in this case, you can raise the question, sir, I want to insert some records inside my object. Whenever if you want to insert some records, so inside that object, there might be some mandatory fields are available. At least one mandatory field will be there, that is a name field. Name is a mandatory field in every object. Remaining all the fields are optional. It's your wish. If you make the field mandatory, that will be mandatory, or else it will be optional by default. So whenever we are inserting the records, we need to pass a value for those mandatory fields. Then how to pass? Whenever I'm passing these values for these records, okay, then how can we pass? In what format we need to supply? Here also, data loader will support CSV file format. Like as your data import wizard, here also we have to pass these values in the form of .csv. Now, let me explain. For example, yesterday we have discussed data import wizard feature. So now here as part of this data import wizard, it will perform only one way operation, either insert or update. But as part of this data loader tool will be supporting to perform both import and export operations also. Let's see how it will do these operations. Let me explain. So now here I'm using this data loader tool. So this is the data loader tool. So this is the data loader tool, which supports both import and export operations. It will perform both import and export operations. So now it will be having the bidirectional communication. It will be having bidirectional communication with this Salesforce objects. It will have the bidirectional communications. If you're importing, we can pass the data. If you're exporting, we can get the data. So bidirectional communications are available. Whenever if you want to perform the operations on your Salesforce object records, if you want to insert, if you want to update, if you want to delete, if you want to undelete, whatever here, upon performing the operations inside your Salesforce objects, whatever the input you want to supply to the data loader, supply this input in the form of a .csv file. We have to supply the input to the data loader in the form of a .csv file, comma separated value file. Now, whenever I'm passing this .csv file as input, data loader will consider this file as input. It will perform the operations on your object records. Once the operations has been done, data loader will generate two output files over here. Data loader will generate two output files. It will generate two output files. So the first one is success file. This is a .csv file. Second one, an error file. Error file. This contains .csv. Okay. Now, so in this case, it is generating two output files to you by default. First one is success file. Second one, an error file. Two files will be generating by data loader here. Now then, what is this a success file? What is this error file? Why Salesforce is generating two files to me? Now let me explain. So whenever it is processing these records, data loader will purely supports partial processing mechanism. It supports purely partial processing mechanism. What do you mean by this partial processing mechanism? Now let me explain. For example, inside my Excel sheet, I have placed some records information to be insert. First record, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Seven records information I have placed inside my CSV file. Now I want to insert these records. I want to insert these records into my object here. Now the data loader will be taking this CSV file as input. It will try to insert the records. First record inserted, second record inserted, third record inserted, fourth record failed. Because in this particular fourth record, for one of the mandatory field, I did not supply the value here. I forgot to pass a value for one of the mandatory field. Now, whenever you are trying to be inserting the record, if you are not passing the value for any mandatory field, your record cannot be processed. Your record will not be inserted. It will show that error message, please enter the value for this field. Without passing the value for all the mandatory fields inside the record, we can't process the record, we can't insert. So, my record has been failed. Then what this data loader will do? Upon processing these records, if any of the record has been failed because of some reasons, because I haven't passed the value for the field, which is a mandatory field, we have to supply, but it's my mistake here. Okay, forgot to pass the value for that mandatory field for one record. For remaining records, I have supplied the value perfectly. Or maybe I have supplied some wrong value. There is an integer field is there, but I have supplied some string value over there. There is a date field is there. I have supplied some integer value. So I have supplied some illegal value. I have supplied some invalid value also for my field. Because of that, my record insertion has been failed. Then what will happen in this case? Upon processing the records, in the middle of the processing, if any of the record has been failed to process with the data loader, what will happen? Will it cancel all the previous operations? Or will it continue with the remaining records as it is? Now it will continue with the remaining records. So now, instead of canceling the whole transaction, just it will ignore this record. Whatever the record has been failed, just it will ignore the record. It will continue with the remaining records as it is. So now it will continue with the fifth record. Fifth record processed successfully. Sixth record processed. Seventh record again failed. So now, in this case, what will happen? Whenever we are performing this operation, in the middle of the processing, if any of the record has been failed, then don't cancel the whole transaction. Continue with the remaining records as it is. Just to skip that record, ignore that failed record, continue with the remaining records as it is. This kind of implementation is called as partial processing mechanism. So as part of this data loader, it supports partial processing mechanism. Because of that, it is generating two files over here. One is success file, second one error file. So now tell me totally how many records I have processed over here? 7 records. Out of this 7, how many records has been processed successfully? 5 records. How many records has been failed? 2 records. So whatever the 5 successfully processed records are available, these successfully processed records information, it will write inside that success file. So whatever the 2 failed records are available, these 2 failed records information will be writing inside your error file here. So by end of this execution, it will be indicating how many records has been processed successfully, how many records has been failed. And along with this failed record information, it will indicate the failure reason also. It will indicate the failure reason also, why the record operation has been failed. Based on that, we can go to this error file, we can see why the record has been failed. So based on that error reason, we can correct our mistakes, we can enter the right values, we can reprocess the failure records again. For that reason, it is purely supporting partial processing mechanism here. Okay? Understood the concept now? No. So in this case, that's what here data loader is generating two output files to you. One is success file, second one error file. Okay? Now. Next one. Whenever we are performing these operations here by using this data loader, upon performing the operations by using this data loader, how it will process here. So now this is the Excel sheet. I'm placing some records. How many records we can process by using data loader at a time? 5 million records. That means 50 lakhs records. Why Salesforce has given the limitation of 5 million? Can't we process more than 5 million? Can't we process? No. Data loader is having the limitation of 5 million. Why? Because we are passing the records by using an Excel sheet here. We are using this Excel sheets. Inside this Excel sheet, we are going to be preparing this data which you want to insert. But as part of your Microsoft Excel, inside this Excel software here, we are having these rows. First row, second row, third row, like that we are having. Excel sheet can have maximum of 50 lakhs rows, not more than that. This is a limitation of Microsoft Excel. So the Microsoft Excel sheet can have maximum of 50 lakhs rows. Because of the limitation of Excel sheet, Salesforce has given a limitation in the data loader also. Data loader can process maximum of 50 lakhs records, not more than that. Okay, understood the concept here? Now, so now here in this case here, whenever I'm placing the records inside my CSV file, which needs to be get processed by the data loader. So what this data loader will do, basically data loader is going to be dividing all these records into various small pieces called as batches. It will divide the records to various small pieces called as batches. Like for example, come to a small scenario. Assume that today afternoon I had some lunch. I went to a hotel. I have ordered for some food. So now the people has placed that order in front of me. So now on my table, I'm having that food is available in the plate. So once the food is available inside the plate, can we have the whole food at a time? No, we can't do that. We can't accommodate the whole food at a time in our mouth. That too we can't digest. So what we can do, divide that food to the various small pieces, take a small piece and we can have it, and the next piece and the next piece, like that we can continue this process till the plate is getting empty here. So that means what? Instead of having this all the food at a time, we are dividing the food to various small pieces. Like the similar way here also, whenever we are passing some 50 lakhs records inside this CSV file, data loader can't consider all these 50 lakhs records within a single transaction. Data loader won't consider these 50 lakhs records inside a single transaction. Why? Because yes, let's see. Because as part of this transaction, transaction will be having purely supporting ACID properties. It purely supports ACID properties here. ACID properties in the sense atomicity, consistency, isolation, and the durability here. Okay, atomicity, consistency, isolation, and the durability here. So now these are the 4 principles of a transaction. So now generally what do you mean by a transaction? Transaction is nothing but a logical container. Transaction is nothing but a logical container which contains so many operations inside that. Okay, transaction is nothing but a logical container which contains so many operations inside that. So now when coming to the transaction, it is having 2 possible results. Either transaction should be committed or transaction should be rolled back. Committing in the sense saving permanently inside the database. Rollback in the sense cancel all the previous operations. So transaction is having 2 possible results here. Either cancel, either success. Either all the operations has to be success or all the operations has to be cancelled. Any one of this, not both. That's what here it is having the first principle, atomicity. Atomic in the sense what? Only one. Only one. Either success or either fail. Not partial. Some are success, some are failure, not like that here. Now, so in this case, as part of these transactions, whenever if it is considering all this 50 lakhs inside a single transaction here, assume that it is maintaining under a single transaction, first record, second record, third record, fourth record, Like that here 4 lakhs, 40 lakhs records has been processed here. 40 lakhs one record here. 40 lakhs one record has been failed. If this record has been failed, all the previous of 40 lakhs operations will be cancelled here. This is the problem in transaction. This is the problem in transaction over here. That's what here, it is not considering all this 50 lakhs records within a single transaction. For that one, what it will do, whatever the records that we have inside this CSV file, these records are dividing into various small pieces that each piece is called as a batch. It will divide the records to various batches here. This is one batch. This is another batch. This is another batch. This is another batch. This is another batch. Like that, it will divide the records to various batches. So this is the batch 1. This is the batch 2. This is a batch 3. This is a batch 4. This is a batch 5. So whatever the records that we have inside your CSV file, these records will be dividing to the various small pieces that each piece is called as a batch. Okay, now, so in this case, once the records has been divided to the various batches, each batch will be getting processed by the data loader separately here. First of all, it will process the first batch, then second batch, and then third batch, and then fourth batch, and then fifth batch. Like that, it is processing the records over here internally. Now, so in this case here, let's see. Upon dividing the records to the various batches and processing these batches, it is using 2 APIs internally here. So this is nothing but batch programming. This is nothing but batch concept here. As part of development, we'll see how the batch programming has to be get implemented here. We'll see practical concept. So in this case, data loader internally using batch programming, where instead of considering all the 50 lakhs records under a single transaction, it will divide the records to various small pieces called as batches. Each batch will be holding some specific records. Then how many? Let me explain here. In this case, upon dividing the records to the various small batches and processing these records, data loader will be using 2 APIs. It supports 2 APIs here. Data loader supports 2 APIs. First one, Apex API. Second one, Bulk API. So these are the 2 APIs that data loader supports. API in the sense application programming interface. Application programming interface means what? It's like as a bundle. It's like as a package which contains some group of classes which we can use to process some bulk records at a time. Because here I'm having more number of records are available. So that here, if you want to divide the records to various batches, then each batch will be holding some specific records. To process those records, we are using some ready-made classes given by Salesforce. So as part of Salesforce, we have 2 APIs are available, Apex API and the Bulk API. So by default, data loader is supporting Apex API. If you want, we can use Bulk API also. We can enable this option. I will show you the practically how this Bulk API option has to be get enabled. Now, whenever if I'm selecting this Apex API, okay, now, whenever if I'm using this Apex API here, it will be having the minimum batch size here. Minimum batch size will be 1. Maximum batch size. Maximum batch size will be 2000. And the default batch size will be 200. Okay, 200. So upon processing the records by using this Apex API, it is considering the minimum batch size will be 1. That means each batch can have minimum 1 record, maximum of 2000 records. In between this range, we can give your own size also. How many records you want to consider per batch, that we can decide. So if you did not given any batch size, then by default Salesforce is considering the default batch size as 200. When if it is Apex API. Okay, now suppose if it is some bulk API here. If it is some bulk API. If it is bulk API, as part of this bulk API, minimum batch size will be 1. Maximum batch size will be 10,000. Default batch size will be 2,000 here. So in this case, what happened? We can process more number of records per batch. We can process more number of records per batch over here. Now, so in this case, we can consider more records per batch also so that we can process very fastly here. Like for example here, assume that. So now assume that today I'm going for the lunch here. Okay, I'm going to the lunch to have some lunch. So now I went to the hotel. Morning I had the breakfast, very good breakfast also. So when you go to the lunch, we can have the food very slowly because morning I had the lunch. I'm not feeling much hungry, so we can able to have that food very slowly here. We can take some time here, half an hour time we can spend. We can have the lunch. Suppose morning I did not had the breakfast because I did not get the time. So I'm feeling hungry. So in the afternoon, what we will do? We'll finish that lunch within 10 minutes, 5 minutes also, because we'd like to have this food in terms of more packages also. Now we can able to take that more piece of food, we can have it here. Because we are feeling hungry, so we can able to continue to have that food very fastly, so we can finish within very less time off. So here also like the similar way. If you are going to be considering very less number of records, then we can go with that Apex API. If we want to process more number of records at a time, then we can go with the help of bulk API. So by using this bulk API, we can consider 10,000 records per batch, so we can process the records very fastly here. For that reason, we are having these two APIs, Apex API and the bulk API here. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now. So in this case, as part of this data loader, it supports these two APIs, Apex API and the bulk API, in order to process your records inside your Salesforce object records. Clear up to this one? Now, let's see. Make a note of this one here. Data loader. Data loader. It is an on-premise tool or client application provided by Salesforce by default, Salesforce by default, which requires installation. Which requires installation inside the local device. To install the data loader, we have to configure the JDK and JRE 11.0 version 11.0 and Zulu inside the local device. By using data loader, we can perform both import and export operations. By using data loader, we can perform both import and export operations on bulk records. It allows us to process maximum of 5 million records. It allows us to process maximum of 5 million records at a time. Now, it supports to process the records in all standard and all custom objects. Inside the organization. It supports to process the records in all standard and all custom objects inside the organization. Now, while processing the records, we have to supply the input to the data loader in the form of .csu file. .csu file. Now, once the operations has been done, it will generate two output files by default. As below. First one, a success file which contains the records, details, which has been processed successfully. Second one, an error file. This is also a CSV file. It contains all the records which has been failed to process, which includes the failure reason also. Failure reason, which includes the failure reason. While processing the records, the data loader supports partial processing mechanism. Partial processing mechanism. That is, if any of the record has been failed in the middle of the processing, then it will ignore the failed record and will continue with the remaining records. Now, data loader internally uses You don't want to write the notes. Done up to this success file and error file, everyone? Now,
Yes, sir.
data loader internally uses batch programming, where the records will get divided into various batches. The records will be divided into various batches based on the below APIs. If it is an Apex API, each batch contains minimum batch size is 1, maximum batch size is 2000, default batch size is 200. If it is bulk API, minimum batch size is 1, maximum batch size is 10,000, default batch size is 2000. Whenever if you are having more number of records are there to be get processed, then divide them to the chunks which contain some more records. So better we can go with the help of this bulk API. So through this bulk API, we can process 10,000 records maximum at a time, not more than that. Both are same. Both are same, but depends upon the number of records you would like to process. We can go with the help of this.
So, where and when we can use that?
Now, suppose for example, if you're having only 10,000 records are available, then go with this Apex API where we can able to divide the records to 2000, 2000, 2000 like that. If you're having some 20 lakhs records are available, then if you're processing 2000, 2000, 2000, it will take more time. Number of batches will be keep on increasing, so that it will take more time. So that consider more records per batch. That's what we can go with bulk API. Okay. Bulk API also. That possibility is available. But whenever if you want to do some hard delete operations, bulk API is mandatory. That's what.
Actually, no advantages.
Nothing. Nothing. Both are same. Both are same.
What is his default batch size, Feroz?
Now, if it is an Apex API, the default batch size will be 200. If it is a bulk API, the default batch size is 2000.
Means minimum that batch holds 2000.
No, minimum 1, maximum 10,000. In between this range, we can give any size. If you want to consider 9,000 records per batch, then we can specify the batch size as 9,000 here. If you did not given any size, then by default, Salesforce will consider as 2000.
Okay, yeah, got it.
So if any failure comes, it will only the batch will be. Any failure comes in.
Not that batch, that record. Even though in that batch, if you're having 2000 records are available, in those 2000 records, if one record has been failed, only that record will be placing inside that CSV file. Remaining 1999 records will process as it is.
That will be placing in the error size.
Right.
Use it for that's it.
Asset properties. Now, so now asset properties in the sense what? If you are using transaction, okay, transaction. But here we are not using transaction, we are using that partial processing mechanism. Okay. Done? Now, so in this case, whenever if you want to use this data loader, we have to download the data loader tool into your local device and we have to install it. But upon installing the data loader, we have two flavors are available. Okay, as part of data loader, we have two flavors are available. First one, data loader for Windows. Second one, data loader for Mac. Okay. So for Windows operating system, we have a separate flavor. For the Mac operating system, that means MacBook, for the iOS platform, we are having a separate flavor is available. So depends upon the operating system which you have, we have to install the respective flavor of data loader inside your local device. Okay. Now most of the people are having this Windows operating system, so that we can go with the help of data loader for Windows. Nowadays, the most of the people have started using MacBooks in US. So at that time, those people can install data loader for Mac. Okay. Now let's see. Data loader is available in below two flavors. In below two flavors. Data loader for Windows. Second one, data loader for Mac. Data loader for Windows, data loader for Mac. So where exactly the data loader tool is available? Now let me show you. Click on setup menu. Search for the option data loader. Click on the data loader link to download and install in our local device. Install in our local device. So this is the navigation we used to follow in order to process the records over here. Done? Now let's see. So now you no need to install this data loader from the internet, not from the Google. Go to your Salesforce org. Inside your Salesforce org itself, we are having these two links are available to install the data loader. It may be Mac, it may be Windows operating system flavor. Now let me go to my Salesforce org. Let's show you where exactly these options are available. So go to this quick find box, search for the option data loader. Okay. Data loader tool. Click on data loader. Now it is representing this information here, what exactly the data loader, what it will do. It is indicating this all this data over here. Now we have this option downloads. Now we can click on confirm. You will be having this two flavors. Data loader for Windows, data loader for Mac. So now these are the two flavors are available here. So now if you're selecting this Windows, then we can select this. Okay, select this Windows. So this is for the Windows. Here we are having this data loader release 56. That means which is related to Windows 23. That means latest one. This is 55 version here, which is of summer 22. Okay, summer 22. Here you will be getting some latest updates also here. So just you can click on this respective data loader here, and then we can start utilizing this. Clear? So depends upon the flavor which you want, either MacBook, or if it is a MacBook, you will be having this Mac flavors are also available over here for the summer 22 release, winter 23 release also. And then for the Windows, we are having these two flavors are available. Just you can download and then we can install this data loader into your local device. Okay, now. So once the data loader has been installed, how it will look like here? How this tool will look like, let me show you. So data loader is simply a small client application. It will be having a very small window, which will be having some buttons to perform the operations. So by using this data loader, we can perform 7 operations. We can do 7 operations through data loader tool. First one, insert. Second one, update. Third one, delete. Fourth one, upsert. Fifth one, hard delete. Sixth one, export. Seventh one, export all. These are the 7 operations. Insert, update, delete, upsert, hard delete, export, export all. These are the 7 operations that we can do with the help of data loader. Each and every operation we'll see practically here. Okay. Now let me show you how this data loader tool will look like. Now, so let's go to your local device. Already I have installed the data loader in my local device here. This is the data loader. So now the data loader tool will look like this here. This is a small tool. That's what I told you. It's a small client application. This is the data loader tool. So this is the data loader tool. In this data loader tool, you are having this 7 buttons are available. These are the 7 operations that we can do, okay, with the help of this data loader. Insert, update, upsert, delete, hard delete, export, export all. These are the 7 operations. Now, whenever we are using this data loader, that we can indicate which API has to be used by the data loader. By default, data loader is considering Apex API to process the records by dividing them to the various small pieces called as batches. Okay. Now, if you want to consider more number of records per batch, then we can indicate bulk API. Then where we can do that setting, just you can go to the data loader tool. On the top of this tool, you will be having a menu bar, like as a file menu, settings menu. Go to the settings menu, click on settings. Now we can see the settings of the data loader. So now here it is indicating the default batch size. What is the default batch size that we have now? 200. Okay, here the default batch size that we have right now, 200. Because by default data loader is considering this Apex API. Now, if you want to consider more number of records per batch, here we can use a checkbox called as use bulk API. Use bulk API. Observe what will happen. If I'm selecting this checkbox, what will be the batch size? Let's see. If I'm selecting this use bulk API, now, so what is the batch size over here? Default batch size 2000. Okay, minimum will be 1, maximum 10,000, default 2000 records per batch. So depends upon your requirement, we can able to consider which API you would like to use. By default, it will use Apex API and the second one bulk API. Okay, now. So now once you have selected this option, click on OK button at the bottom. You are having this OK button, select this OK button, these settings will be getting saved. Okay, now click on OK. So now these are the 7 operations we can do with the help of data loader now. Now, whenever if you want to perform the operation through data loader, directly data loader can't connect to your Salesforce R. Okay, data loader directly can't connect. We have to provide your credentials. So through this data loader tool, I want to connect to my Salesforce R, and then I want to enter into my Salesforce R. I want to bring some data from my objects, or I want to insert some records. I want to update some records. I want to delete some records. I want to perform the operation. So whenever if you want to enter into your organization, you should be an authorized member. You should be an authorized member. Then only we can able to enter into the data loader over here. Now, then how can we connect this data loader to your Salesforce Arc? So when you try to perform any operation, it will go to that login screen directly here. It will go to that login screen. There you will be having 2 types of authentications. Whenever if you want to connect this data loader with your Salesforce Arc, we have 2 types of authentications are available. First one, OAuth authentication, that is also called as open authentication. So the first one, OAuth authentication. This is called as open authentication. Second one, password authentication. Okay, second one, password authentication. Password authentication. These are the 2 types of authentications are available, which we use to follow to connect to the data loaded to your Salesforce Arc. Now, OAuth authentication requires an access token which needs to be get collected, okay, by interacting with that Salesforce authorization servers. So for that one, we require integration. But now we are not doing any integration over here. So I don't want to use this OAuth authentication. I want to use password authentication. As part of password authentication, here we have to specify your Salesforce account username and the password. In order to log in into your Salesforce account, whatever the username and the password that have given over here, same username and the password we have to provide to log in into the data loader. Okay, for that one, we are using password authentication. I want to use Salesforce accounts username and the password to log in into my data loader over here. Clear? Now, so let's go to that options here. So when I click on this export button, now it is asking me to authenticate first. Provide your credentials. You want to go with this OAuth authentication, or you want to go with this password authentication. I want to go with this password authentication over here. I want to provide the Salesforce username and the password. Now here I'm indicating my Salesforce account username, that is training.account 362 @cas.com. This is my username. I'm giving my password. I have given the right password here. Even though if you're providing the right password, it won't allow. Even though if you're giving the right password, it won't allow. It needs something else. It requires some more additional identity. Maybe your username and the password may be collected by some other people. So those people are using this data loader tool. Through this tool, they're connecting to your Salesforce Arc. They would like to do some malfunctioning inside that. So in this case here, in this case, so we need to provide some additional token also, that is called as security token. That is called as security token here. So whenever if you want to log in into the data loader, by using your password authentication, we have to specify your Salesforce account username, and the password should be your Salesforce account password plus security token. We have to generate that security token first. Then how to generate the security token? What is the navigation here? Okay, now let me show you. Okay, now let me give you the navigation first, and then I will show you the practical concept. Clear? Now let's see. Now, login into data loader. To perform import and export operations on your Salesforce objects, we have to log in into the data loader. Data loader first. It provides two types of authentication mechanisms. First one, OAuth authentication. This is also called as open authentication. Second one, password authentication. In this case, it requires an access token to be get generated by integrating with Salesforce authorization servers. By integrating with Salesforce authorization servers. Second one, password authentication. In this approach, we can use the Salesforce account, username and the password to log into data loader along with the security token. That is, username should be Salesforce account username. Password should be Salesforce account password plus security token. Now, we can generate the security token as below. Go to your Salesforce org. Go to your Salesforce org. Click on profile icon and click on settings link. Click on settings link. Go to the personal information. And expand it. Click on reset security token button. Reset security token link. And click on reset my security token button. Now, the observation. It will generate a security token and will send to the user's email ID. User's email ID automatically. So log in into the email account. Open the email received from Salesforce. Copy the security token. and log into data loader. So this is the navigation we used to follow to generate the security token here.
So every time we log into data loader.
But we no need to generate every time here. So once we have generated the same token, we can use for next 90 days, 90. Suppose in this 90 days, if you change the password of your Salesforce account, new security token will be generated by Salesforce will come to your email ID automatically. Because this is one of the additional check, like as a OTP. Even though somebody knows about your username and the password, they can't steal your data. They can't connect to your organization. They can't perform any malfunctioning because they require security token. That security token also, even though they're generating the security token, that will be coming to your email ID here. Okay, you have to go to your email account, copy that security token, and you have to place inside that along with password. No, this will be coming only to email ID. Okay, not to phone number. Only verification code will come to your mobile number that we can configure. Okay, but this will be coming only to your email ID.
Firoz, from where do we get this data model? Yesterday, which you were showing it.
I will share that one. I will share into your WhatsApp group today.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Done?
Yes, sir.
Because as part of this data loader, if anybody asks you the question, have you worked on data migration or not? Then we can say yes. So now which tool that you have used to import and export the data, then we can say data loader. Okay, we have used data loader to perform bulk imports and exports. And it's a common question in most of the interviews, difference between import wizard and data loader. It's a common question. You know what is import wizard, what is the capability of import wizard, what it can do. And then you know the concept of data loader and what data loader can do, what kind of operation we can perform through data loader. You know that here. So it's a common question in every interview, difference between import wizard and the data loader tool. Okay. Now, done with these points. Now let me show you. So now here I'm closing this data loader tool. Let me go to my Salesforce R. Now, I want to generate the security token. Just you can go to your profile menu on the top right corner. Click on the link settings. Okay, click on the link settings. In the left panel, we are having this personal information link. There we have a button option called as reset my security token link. So there is an option called as reset my security token. Click on this reset my security token link. It will open a screen where you will be getting the button reset security token button. When I click on this reset security token button, now your token will be getting generated. It will send to your user's email ID automatically. So now who is this current user? This is the training batch user. Upon creating this Salesforce account, whatever the email ID that I have given to that email ID, it will send the email notification automatically. Click on reset security token. Now it is indicating we send a new security token to your email ID over here. So this is the email ID which I have given upon creating my Salesforce account. Okay, now. So let me go to my email account here. I'm going to my Gmail account now. Now, we have received one email notification from Salesforce, your new Salesforce security token. Now, this is the token which is purely a case sensitive. Okay, which is purely case sensitive here. This is the security token generated by Salesforce. Now, copy this security token here. I'm placing in my notepad. So now copy the security token. Go to the data loader. Click on export. Password authentication. I'm giving my username and the password. Okay. Now you have to paste your security token. Don't give any plus symbol. After typing your Salesforce account password, paste your security token here. Okay, paste your security token. Now click on login. It is validating your credentials. Now it is indicating login successful. Just you can cancel the screen. You can perform the operations whatever you want now. Okay, you can select the objects here which you would like to interact, and we can perform DML operations. You can export the data. We can insert the records. We can do the operations whatever you want here. Okay, clear? Now next. Here I will show you one small mechanism here. Sometimes in the interview point of view, they will raise a question. I want to log in into the data loader without providing security token. Because whatever the security token that I have generated right now, this security token will be valid for next 90 days, 90 days. Okay. Now in this 90 days, if you change the password of your Salesforce account, okay, if you change the password of your Salesforce account, then a new token will be generated by Salesforce. It will send to your email ID automatically here. Okay. Now from there onwards, we have to use a new token to log into your data loader from there onwards. Now sometimes we can raise a question, sir, every time using this password and security token, I'm feeling very difficulty with this one. So the people will be getting irritated with this all this kind of mechanism. So in this case, do we have any shortcut mechanism that without providing any security token, directly with my Salesforce account username and the password, I want to log in into my data loader? Do we have any possibility? Yes, there is a possibility here. Okay, now in this case, how can we do that? For that one, we have to use universal IP address. We have to configure universal IP address on your username. That means on your Salesforce users profile. Inside your profile level, we can configure the universal IP address. Then how can we configure the universal IP address? Now let me show you here. Now here I'm going to be logging out from my data loader here. Now let me try to log in with only with my username and the password. Let's see. I'm giving the password. When you click on login, it won't allow. It will ask you to check your username and the password here because I haven't given that security token. But now, without this security token, just by using this username and the password, I would like to log in. How to log in? Now, let's see. Now, let's make a note of this one. We can log into the data loader without providing the security token. Without providing security token. To achieve this, we have to configure the universal IP address. And the user's profile. And the user's profile as below. Then how can we do this now? Let's see. Log into your Salesforce account. Click on Setup menu. Search for the option Users in Quick Find box. Go to the Users section. Go to the currently login username. For example, training batch. Then click on profile name. Click on profile. This is the system administrator profile. Go to the profile details and go to login IP ranges section. Click on add button. Enter the universal IP address. That is starting IP address as 0.0.0.0. Ending IP address as 255.255.255.255. Click on save. Now the user can log in to data loader just by using Salesforce account credential. So this is the navigation to add that universal IP address on your user's profile. Whenever you are working from outside of your sales organization, from your company, this is not suggestible. This is not suggestible because whatever the internet access that we have in your home, that is not much secure because you are not using any firewall protection system. That too, you are not maintaining any antivirus also for your system, so hacker people can hack your data very easily. If you are working from a company, if you are accessing the data loader from your company network, then it will be safe. At that time, you can go with the help of universal IP address. Done? Done with this? Now, let's see. So now let me go to my Salesforce R to add the universal IP address. Just go to that setup menu. Go to that, search for the option users. Go to this user section. This is the currently login user name that we have, that is training batch user here. Don't click on the user name, click on the user's profile. Okay, in the right side, we are having this profile name. Click on this profile name. Now, when you come down to this profile, we can able to set a permission called as login IP ranges. Once you come down to this profile, we can specify the permissions. Go to this login IP ranges section. Click on new button. Specify the starting IP address, ending IP address. That means that the trusted network location we can specify. I'm indicating as 0.0.0.0 and then ending IP address as 255.255.255.255. Now click on save. So from now onwards, we can log into your data loader just by using Salesforce account username and the password without any security token. Now, let's see. So now let's see here. Now I'm going to my profile. Let me go to my settings. Now tell me, do we have any option over here? Previously, we have an option, reset my security token. Do you have this option here? No. If you are not able to see the reset security token inside your personal information, then the problem is inside your profile label, you have added universal IP address. That is a problem. If you are enabling there, this option will be disabled. Okay, you no need of any security token, so that option will not be visible to you at all. So now let me go to my data loader now. Click on export, password authentication. I'm giving the password. Click on login. My login is successful. Even though if I'm not giving this security token, just by using your Salesforce account username and the password, we can log in here. Now we can perform the operations whatever you want on this. Okay, this is how we have to install the data loader. We have to log into the data loader with your Salesforce account credentials. Clear? Now, so once the data loader has been configured, then how to perform these 7 operations? Okay, we'll see in tomorrow's next session. In the next session, we'll see how to perform these operations. We'll see with the practical. With this one, we are done with the theoretical concept here. So now the next session will be purely practical on data loader. How to do this one, how to generate that CSV files, how to pass the CSV file, how to track the results, everything I will show you with the practical on Monday. Okay. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we don't have the session. Next session will be on Monday again at same timings. Okay. So in between this, try to configure the data loader here into a local system and then log in with the data loader also. Okay, once it is done, then on Monday we'll see the practical concepts.
If you are checking the Salesforce password also, will you send it a message?
No, it will be same. It will not impact here. If you are using that security token, then it will be impacting here. Okay.
So it will not go to the password.
No. Thank you.